This is Joy Foote. Welcome to Pine Mountain, then and now. Before I get into today's show, I want to let you know that I have a special announcement at the end of this episode. It's about my plans for the October shows, so if you love true crime, then pay special attention. Now let's get into today's history tidbit. I get a chuckle each time I hear a longtime resident of Pine Mountain share stories with me about the phone lines from the 1960s and earlier. Phones used to be a phone, connected by a cord, at your house, and there weren't any answering machines or voicemail. Whenever I talk to anyone around Pine Mountain about the quote-unquote party lines, there's always a little smile that comes up on their face. For those of you that don't know, a party line is a phone line that you shared with other neighbors. You could have a phone in your house, and maybe 3 or more neighbors would have the same phone number, and you would, quote, share the line. Each of the residents in a party line would have a specific ring, so you could distinguish if the phone call was for you. For example, if the phone rang with one short ring, a long ring, followed by 2 short rings, that could be your ring, meaning the phone call was for you. But if the phone rang in your house, and let's say it rang with a long ring, followed by 2 short rings, that was not your ring, so you weren't supposed to pick it up. The call was for one of your neighbors. Now, all of this was done on the honor system, and you weren't supposed to listen in on someone else's conversation. But we know people did. You could likely look out your window into your neighbor's house while talking with a friend on the phone and catch your neighbor with the phone plastered to their ear. I can imagine that people would just make up stories and see their neighbors' eyes go wide. But if you go back further in history on the phones, let's talk about the operators. They were the lifeline of our town. Residents would hand-crank their phone and get the operator, either Miss Claude or Mrs. Skelton. The operators knew everything that was going on. For example, if a young man asked Miss Claude to be patched through to a young lady in town, she'd been known to reply, "You know, she's dating that boy from Hamilton now. Better try somebody else." Or let's say they needed to reach the town doctor, Dr. Ellis, only to be told that Dr. Ellis was out delivering a baby. And locals could get the operator and say, "I want to talk to my grandma," or "patch me through to Daddy," and they would. Wouldn't that be wonderful? Just pick up the phone and get a live operator in your own town. That just blows my mind. Now let's jump forward to when the rotary dial phones were the new thing. This was new technology for everyone, so Southern Bell created a user's guide. And let me see if I can explain this for people that don't know how a dial phone worked. You would place your finger in one of the holes associated with the number and rotate the dial until the dial wouldn't rotate any further. If you dialed a 1, that would be a super short rotation on the dial. If you dialed a 9, that was a long rotation on the dial. And if you messed up dialing, you couldn't just backspace and redo that last number you incorrectly dialed. You had to hang up the receiver, pick it up again, and start all over. In one of the excerpts from the Southern Bell Guide, it states, and I quote, "Start with the right number. Be sure you obtain the correct number with the current issue of the telephone directory. If the number isn't listed, please dial operator," which was 0, and ask for information. When she gives you the number, hang up the receiver for a few seconds before dialing the number. Can you imagine dialing 0 and getting a local operator? How nice. There's a lot of cool things at the Chipley Historical Center, like old phones and directories as far back as 1952. Some of the phone numbers in the directory had just 2 digits to them. Yep, just 2 digits. For example, the longtime Chevrolet dealership, Wisdom Motor, their number was 18. And yes, Pine Mountain had more than one car dealership in its day. I do appreciate my smartphone. I love having a question pop in my head and being able to get the answer within seconds. It sure beats going to my neighbor's house to look in their encyclopedias. Remember those days? And I love being able to snap a decent photo that I can instantly share with my family and friends. But how great would it be to have a local operator recognize my voice, give me a nice warm greeting while connecting me to my family or friend? Siri or Alexa will never do that. I want to say a big thank you to Martha Hartley. She wrote a great article in the September 2021 Chipley Historical Center newsletter that includes so many details about the phones. I also found a very charming video of Ken Askew describing the telephone system. It's on YouTube, and I will include the link in the episode show notes. Ghosts have yet to reveal themselves in Pine Mountain. So in the spirit of Halloween, I decided to do a little true crime series in October. Basically, the weekly episodes will be about the murders and mayhem during the Wild West days of Chipley. And to make this even more fun, I am doing an Our Town trivia on October 29th, focusing entirely on Pine Mountain's Wild West past. So buckle up and get ready to learn more about your town than you ever imagined. I love hometown festivals, so I can't wait for the Pine Mountain Fall Festival this Saturday from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. right in downtown. There'll be dozens of vendors with music, food, arts and crafts, and more. The festival is kid and pet friendly, and parking is free. So don't miss this chance to celebrate fall, usher in the cooler weather, and hang out with friends and family. It's a good old-fashioned time. Also on Saturday from 10 to 4 is an artist pop-up exhibit at Pine Mountain Art and Jewelry. Meet the very talented artist, Kathy Dement, for an exhibit of her artwork and shoes and handbags, prints, and more. Today's episode was brought to you by Tours with Joy, the guided walking tours through Pine Mountain. There are 2 tours available, the Wild West Days of Chipley and the Beautiful Murals. Check out tourswithjoy.com for details. Special thanks goes out to the Chipley Historical Center for fact-checking this episode. The beautiful art and music for the show was created by Silly Bug Studios. My next episode is on Wednesday, October 2nd. Hope to see you around town.